Hello everybody. Thanks very much for joining us today for the latest in our series of webinars. Today we're in conjunction with Raz Design from Toronto in Canada. My name is Colin Walsh. I'm a senior product specialist with MMS Medical and I'm based in the west of Ireland. And we're joined from Raz Design by Nelson Pang. Thanks Nelson for giving us your time today. Also thanks to Chris from Raz and Trish from MMS for organizing today. Thanks to you all for attending. Just to let you know, guys, we are recording today's session and we'll be issuing out a link to that recording via email, probably by tomorrow. We'll also be issuing CPD certificates as well. If you could keep your cameras and your cameras off and microphones muted, please. If you have any questions during the session, if you could type them into the comment box and we'll do our best to get to them at the end. We aim to be done within the hour. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So without further ado, I'd like to pass you over to Nelson if you're ready to go. And thanks again for joining us today.
Okay, thank everybody for being part of this webinar. So a little bit of background about Raz. So we started the company in 2004. And at that point, it was just me. We had not a single drawing. We just had some ideas. So we started to create our frame. The first chair that we developed was the Raz AP, a 10 propel, followed shortly by the SP, self-propel. And then it wasn't until 2006 that we came up with the Raz AT, which is our most popular chair. So I'm going to go over standard things. I need a Commode pan, please, and thank you. Starting off, all of our frames are stainless steel, at least the Raz stainless steel components. So it's a bead blast finish. So instead of being powder coated like some chairs are, or worse, made of steel and then just powder coated, eventually those chairs rust from the inside out because it's still steel, it still rusts, whereas Raz, stainless steel, will not rust, especially if you take care of the product. So I'm going to go over some standard features first, and then we'll go into some of the features of this specific model. So this is our casters. So this is our standard caster, 5-inch diameter. So it's dual locking. So when I step on the pedal, it locks from rolling and swiveling. So it makes for safer transfers. A couple of key things: the pedal for activation of the lock does not protrude past the caster. So that means that it allows you to have better maneuverability because not only does the caster swing less, but it also allows you to get your footrest, foot supports in a little bit tighter. The other thing I want to point out that this dark gray ring here, this does not rotate with the caster. So this is what we call a hair guard or thread guard. So it keeps pet hairs and human hairs away from the axle, which would potentially cause it to seize. So that's why it's important to be looking for that and a good brake pedal. Okay. So another standard component across the board is our Commode pan. So it inserts under the seat. Okay, you can see there's a good lock in there. We spent about a year developing this product. And one of the key things that it's got a handle at 45 degrees, so when you're reaching down, it's more comfortable. Some chairs have a vertical handle, so if it's a vertical handle, that means you got to go lower in order to grip that vertical handle. Whereas here with Raz, I can be in more comfortable body position and wrist position. Okay. It's also angled so that the contents sit in the rear of the pan, so it's closer to your hand, so you have better mechanics. The grip itself is contoured, and it has additional ribs underneath it, so to eliminate pressure points and give it a good ergonomic fit. So you can see it's got a lid on it. The lid helps keep splashes to a minimal, and also if you're taking it from bedroom to the toilet, it keeps the odors from spreading out throughout the house. And it even has a ridge down the middle to reduce splashing and sloshing. Okay. These two bumps here, these dents here, that you can see, so that's designed so that when it goes into the bright green Commode pan brackets, it locks securely. So as you're going down the tiles, whatever, it's not going to cause a commode pan to rattle loose and then fall and then create a mess. Okay, a couple other things. This is high temperature resistant polypropylene. So that means that you can autoclave this. That means that you can use bedpan hygiene systems, high sanity wash, high temperature wash. And then we jokingly say it's also dishwasher proof. You can have it upper or lower rack depending on how you want it clean, but it is a very durable commode pan and high temperature resistant. Okay, so I'm going to talk next about how our chairs are we always design our chairs with accessibility. So open in the rear completely, so it's designed to roll over most toilets. It's adjustable in height, which I'll show you in a couple of seconds there, because some toilet bowls are higher than others, and you have to raise the floor height in order to accommodate that. We generally have cantilever arms. So cantilever arms, the importance of that is it can give room for your hips, but it flips up out of the way for easy hygiene access or transfers if you're doing ceiling lifts. Okay, and it locks in the down position, which is an option. It's called the arm lock. And that's important because if you're doing a self-transfer, you're pushing and pulling yourself across, you want that arm to stay down and locked until you want to release it. So just by lifting up in this green lever, I'm able to release his arm. Okay. So another standard feature are foot supports. Stainless steel, flip-flop foot plate, adjustable. So this goes from 16 to 20.5 inches. So that is 40 centimeters to 52 centimeters roughly. And again, we also have longer footrest extension tubes if you have taller clients and you need to give their lower limbs better support. Okay, so that's a damn swinging from out the top. We also have for facilities, we now have a foot support lock. So it plugs into here, and then when you lock it down, you can either set it so that you can lift the footrest and swing away, but stays with the chair, or you can lock it so that it doesn't lift at all. Okay, so that might be good for facilities. If you have facilities that are constantly misplacing their foot supports, you may want to add those to that. Okay, so I'm going to talk next. Again, our design is modular, so it allows us to have different back setups. So we know a long time ago that one size does not fit all. Okay, unlike some companies, so our standard wide is 18-inch wide because that's the narrowest you can have and still fit over most toilet bowls because you need about 15.5, 16 inches of clearance inside. So that is 40 centimeters of clearance inside. The other key thing is our seats. Our seats are designed for comfort and durability, and we're going to have a section that's going to talk more about the seats and also about the pressure mapping that we're going to do later. So I'm going to just start talking about, the importance of res, and our philosophy was to make chairs that are prescribable. So it should not be one size fit all. And when we developed RAS back in 2004, that was pretty much it. That's all that was available. And the problem with that is you can have a 30,000 euro chair, power chair, or manual chair done up to the nines with all the seating and pressure and positioning. But if they're sitting in their shower commode chair for 1 to 3 hours, that's plenty of time to get a pressure injury. So once they get a pressure injury and they need flap surgery, they're never going to be the same. They're never going to have the same skin integrity as before. And so it's important to look after pressure injuries basically a 24-hour. It can't just be when they're in their everyday chair. You got to think about it when they're toileting, when they're bathing, as well as when they're sleeping, of course, but that's not the product area that we're in. Okay, so it's important to have products that help prevent pressure injuries. Okay, so I'm just going to start you off. To make good rehab products, you have to pay attention to detail. So my Commode joke to start us off is at RAS we're anal about detail. So let that settle in. Okay, so we're going to talk next about the actual chair. So this is a RAS SP in front of me. So you can see the frame is there. We got some other options on here because we don't have a lot of time. So I thought I would put some other options so we can show you as we go along. So the key thing is self-propel. So we have 22 and 24-inch wheels available. 22 is the better wheel to consider for most clients because it's the slightly smaller diameter means you have slightly better axis in the front, slightly better transfer axis because the wheel is less, protrudes less. And also it makes it a little bit easier to get back over a toilet because the slightly smaller wheel allows you to go back a little bit further before it hits the wall behind the toilet. Okay. Again, open in the rear, designed to fit over. And unlike some chairs, we have full access. So the frame is designed for side access front, without having a custom frame as some companies do. Okay, so I'm going to show you quick release axles are available. And you can see from here the height adjustment on the axle plate. And just to show you what that axle plate looks like, okay, it is this. So not only do we have height adjustment, we also have fore aft adjustment to accommodate the person center of mass. Okay, so that's an important feature to have because by moving the axles and the rear wheels forward, it takes the weight off the front casters, which then makes it more maneuverable. And that's important for because it can help prevent injuries, shoulder injuries. Sorry, I'm just changing the temperature in the room here a little bit because it's getting warm, putting the fan on. Okay, so axle plate. So as I said, this is a self-propel, but this frame is also used as an attendant propel. Okay, so back here, we can put in the set of rear casters and then turn this into an attendant propel. So two chairs, two models are based on the same frame. Okay, Chris, can you pull the corner of this drop there? Just to get it. Okay. Yeah, because it's crinkling up. Okay. Also, if you want anti-tip support, we have anti-tippers that plug into the rear here. Okay, to provide more rearward stability if needed. We also have other hand rims. We have vinyl dip hand rims. We have vinyl dip hand rims with projections. So for a C6 quad, they can just palm it and get better grip and traction. We have very unique wheel locks. It's kind of hard to see it. We don't have a spare one here. Wheel locks allow you to apply the wheel lock with very little pressure because it has a rotating or articulating brake shoe. So as the wheel tries to turn, it actually rotates and digs in for greater hold. Okay, so that's the SP-AT. I'm going to talk next about the RAS AT, which is our most important, most popular chair. Okay, and hang on just for a second here. Okay, so again, it's our most popular chair. So the RAS AT intended tilt. This chair tilts 40 degrees, okay, which is very significant because at 40 degrees, you get a substantial redistribution of the client's weight. So off the seated higher risk areas onto the back, which is lower risk. We have 4 different back options. We have 15-inch back height, 17, 20, and 24-inch back height as well. And we also have recline. So this is tilt. Okay, so typically this is locked in at 25 degrees of tilt because it also has 30 degrees of recline. Okay, and when you have elevating leg rests combined, you can have somebody very horizontal. Okay, so great for pressure redistribution, but also for C6 quads, if it takes time for their blood pressure to adjust when they first wake up in the morning, you can transfer such a client into a tilt recline and then slowly bring them up okay, gradually so that their blood pressure can adjust and accommodate sitting upright. Okay. I want to point out that we have 2-point arms, or also you can call them reclining arms. So basically, as I recline, okay, because it has a front support tube there, it keeps the arms fairly level as you go through the recline. So instead of pointing up in the air that you would normally, this reclines rear. Okay, so this is the AT. This has 10 centimeters of height adjustment. It goes from 53 centimeters up to 63 centimeters. That's seat to floor height from the top of the molded seat to the floor. There's other things you can do with this. You can put this chair in anterior tilt. So when I raise this up 1 or 2 inches, typically I move this screw hole here, this hole screw down 1 or 2 holes to keep the seat frame level. But if I leave the pivot post here alone and I move this 1 or 2 holes down, it lifts the back end of the seat frame, but more importantly, it lowers the front of the frame. So I can go down to 3.5 inches, so about 10 centimeters, 9 centimeters, I can drop the front edge of the seat. It helps people do standing pivot transfers. That's especially important if you have a higher toilet bowl that you have to raise the seat to floor height in order to get the chair over. Okay, I got some, another important feature on here is the directional caster lock. I'll get back in the frame shot here. Okay, so 4 casters, just like your trolleys, are good in tight spaces because you can go sided with it. But as I know, because I've been to Ireland many times, through trolleys with 4 casters, the cart has a tendency to wander by itself. Hard to control because the back end of the trolley or chair is fishtailed. So with RAS, we came up with a directional caster lock. Okay, I'm going to change this way here. See it better? So this is the directional caster lock. So when I flip this down, it grabs the rear caster, keeps it in the forward position. Now it's easier to steer because the back end of the chair is not moving around. Okay, and then when I don't want it, I just lift this up, and then the caster can now swivel. Okay, so it gives you better control. Especially important if you have a facility with a central bathing toileting area and you got food carts and nursing stations to avoid. Having better control of the chair is safer for the client as well as for the caregivers, because if the chair starts wandering off, it may cause them to wrench their back if they're trying to stop it from making contact with something. Okay, so I'm going to talk next about the cat. Okay. So this is the CAT, or Compact AT. When we first developed this chair, we were thinking it was good for pediatrics, and the pediatrics. But we discovered it's also good for small adults. So the key is it's got a shorter base. It's 16-inch seat depth, and because of the back is over above the seat, we have the ability to grow the seat depth. Okay, so you can see the additional holes here. So we can adjust this seat from and back frame from 11-inch seat depth all the way to 16. It has a tapered aperture. Okay, tapered aperture so that as you move the back frame over, the aperture gets slightly wider, which will stimulate a growing child. But the key is we can have an 18-inch wide seat frame, so it fits over most toilet bowls, but we can bring in the back to 16 or even 14 inches wide. Okay, so to provide more lateral support, better trunk support, better trunk stability as well. So we got a couple other options on here. So our laterals, of course, is here. Okay, we also have a hip adductor. So again, if you have scoliosis client, you can bring in the hip adductor so you can do the stability on one side here. Okay, and then you can do the trunk here so that you can do better posture control. We also have 2 back heights. We have 15-inch and we also have 18-inch. We also have a offset headrest adapter, which is too tight here, so I can't rotate around, but basically allows you to move the head support over to one side or the other side, again, to accommodate scoliosis. Different footrest options, of course. But the key thing is for your client with cerebral palsy, this chair is certainly robust to handle that. It actually has a 300 pound or 135 kilogram weight capacity, and it's made of the same steel as the adult, the RAS AT, which has a 400 pound weight capacity. So this chair is certainly capable of handling your high tone client. Okay, and next I'm going to talk about the AT600. So the AT600, again, for bariatric, the 600 signifies that it has a 600 pound weight capacity. Okay, so this chair tilts 25 degrees, and the real importance of this is if you're doing a ceiling lift and you got a bariatric client, they're not going to be at 90-90. They're always going to be at some tilted angle because their center of mass is going to be below the hooks, below the straps. So as a result, they're going to sit their butts here, the backs here, and you're going to have a heck of a time moving, 100, 200 kilogram client rearward so that they're properly in the chair. So with the AT600, we have a new tilt assist pedal. So this is a flip down pedal. And as a result, I'm able to tilt and pre-tilt this chair. Okay, in which case now, when you lower the client, the butt's going to be here and the slope seat and gravity will help you get the client back. Okay, so it's got spring system here that will help lift the person up. You don't need a power chair, power activated linear actuators for function. So this chair starts at 22 inches, which is 55 centimeters. It goes up to 75 centimeters as standard. We do custom, and we've gone probably close to 190 centimeters in width. Okay, so moving on, this is the Zoom SP. So this is also available in a 10 propel. There's the set of rear casters that fit in here. So basically, this chair is a folding frame, folding chair. All of our standard seats fit this, by the way, all of our 18-inch wide standard seats. So I'm going to just show you how to fold it. So undo the front brackets, I lift the seat off. Okay. Now I can either remove the foot supports or just take them off, bring them in, and then to fold the frame, I just rotate the seat support tubes out. Then I lift up on the cross brace. Okay, and voila, the frame folds. Now, the back frame has two tri-lobes, so if I remove, so it's easy to remove the back frame. We are developing a travel package with this. So the travel package will have arms that are removable. It'll have removable back canes to allow people to hook if they want. It'll also have removable front casters without tools, of course, and it'll have a quick release wheel lock design. So while I'm here, I want to show you the axle lock. So the wheel mount, you can see there are two holes here. So you can have the wheels directly below the back frame, or you can have it 1 inch in front. And if you switch the left and right wheel mounts, you can have it 1 inch behind. So again, with our design, we give clinicians and MMS Medical the ability to adjust for the client center of mass. So it's for more efficient propulsion. In the frame here, that's where the rear casters go. If it's antenna propel, and then or anti-tippers, of course, can go in there. So there's a couple other features of this chair I want to show you. So, but first to unfold it, basically I rotate the seat support tubes outward, and I push down on the cross brace. Okay, and then now you can hear that click. So I'm now locking down the cross brace, so now you cannot lift up. Okay, so other important things about this chair is it has a low pivot point. So it's right down here, and it's arched forward. So because it's a low pivot point, it allows the toilet bowl to protrude above and in front over top of the cross brace, and then it doesn't stop you from getting back further over the toilet. So other things is that it has an arch brace, okay? So it arches forward. I again, to allow you to get back further over a toilet. But I'm going to demonstrate one of the key things about this chair is how rigid it is. And put the foot supports back. And then just to, again, to demonstrate how rigid this chair is, I'm just going to rock back. And you're not doing any damage to the chair, but that just shows you how solid and rigid this chair is, even though it's a folding frame. So again, the folding can be good for transportability if you're going away visiting your aunt or uncle or somewhere, but also it can be good for storage. So if you have a smaller home, which is not uncommon in Ireland, or big families, which is also not as not as common as it used to be. But when you're tight on floor space by folding up the frame and putting the chair in the corner, then it makes for more room for everybody else. Okay, so here's our next chair, our ART. Okay, so the ART was developed and came out, released it 2 years ago. One of the key significance is that it has uses patented tilt geometry to tilt. So it's actually a tenon rotational tilt, ART, or the art of tilt, if you want to put it that way. And basically, as I tilt 40 degrees, there's very little movement on the person's center of mass. Okay, so my fist here simulates where that would be above the legs in front of the belly button. Okay, very little movement of the center of mass. Okay, and the engineering definition of work is force times the distance. If there's very little distance moved, then that means there's very little work done, which also means that it's very, very easy to tilt. So just to demonstrate that, I'm going to get back into the frame. So I put a rubber band on the tilt triggers to simulate. So I'm upright just by moving my arms back. I'm tilting rubber. Moving my arms forward, I'm able to tilt. Okay? So that's how little effort is required to tilt it. Now, what's the benefit of that? Well, the key is if you have a small shower area, so whether it's a stall shower or more commonly here in North America where you pull a bathtub out and you put in a roll-in shower, you typically have a limited amount of space. So it's 58 inches, which is going to be about 120 centimeters. So it's very tough to tilt and still be in that shower area. And most chairs require you to be behind when you tilt, so even our own AP. But because it's so easy to tilt, I'm able to stand outside of the shower area and then tilt the client, okay, fully without having to be behind. So not only is it more room to tilt because you're not standing behind it, you're also standing as the attendant in a drier area. It's not actually in the shower wet area. And from here, you can tilt, you can bathe and do hygiene, everything else from the outside here. Okay, so a couple other options. Oh yeah, so it's got a really short wheelbase. This is 5 inches shorter, so very compact. Again, designed for, it allows you to get back further over toilet. There's some fore aft adjustments on the back. All of our standard seats fit. There is side axis here, which is unlike other rotational tilts. And our seat frame or base frame has 3 inches of height adjustment with toolless. You can flip the frame over, invert it, and you get another 3 inches. So this adjusts from 20 to 27 inches. So that's 50 centimeters up to about 65, 68 centimeters. Other options on here, this is really key. We have good lateral supports, lift, swing. So the laterals lock in the back when you don't want them or don't need them. Okay, lock in the front. And again, it's common to have arm troughs and laterals used together. Okay, but it gets intrusive. So how do you tilt? How do you flip the arm up? Well, we have a pivoting arm mount option that pushes, rotate this down. Now I can swing the laterals out of the way. Now I can lift the arm totally out and do transfers or hygiene without any interference from the arm trough. Okay. So the other important thing is it allows me to mount my lateral as low as I need it to be because I don't have to worry about it trying to swing up over the cup over the elbow support. Okay, so that's pivoting arm trough. This is available for all RAS chairs, and it can be retrofitted onto existing chairs. So I'm going to next talk about seats. So we have a variety of seats available, but when we started out the RAS in 2004, I was horrified at how poorly designed and how uncomfortable shower commode seats were. Okay, and if you look at them, mostly they're flat, hard, and they had either a large hole in the middle of the seat, but it was certainly not contoured. So we said, let's contour our seat, okay, and let's put the aperture at the rear of the seat, because at the rear of the seat is where your ischial tuberosities are, your ITs, and as a result, then the aperture is in a more suitable spot, and by contouring it, okay, not only are we maximizing contact, but we're also, by maximizing contact, we're minimizing pressure, but we're also helping to stabilize the pelvis. Okay, so you can see that the contouring will help stabilize it side to side and also front to rear. So help prevent it from shearing forward when their trunk is in a more stable position and causing them to slide forward. Okay, so other things we did was we molded in side cutouts. So when you're reaching in, you're not reaching through the full width of the seat. We also molded in a sacrococcygeal relief area here. So if you go sit a little bit, less contact, less pressure. And again, everybody is not built the same. So we have 2 seat desks. So we have a 53 centimeter, and then we also have a 43 centimeter. So, and then in order to provide access openings in other locations, that's why we came up with a viscofoam interface seat. So the viscofoam interface seat has a molded seat underneath it. So this seat here, okay, has the molded seat underneath it, but we upholster 1-inch viscofoam on top. So the softer foam interacts with the user, so it's a memory foam, and you get the best of both worlds. You get the contouring foam support of the molded seat, plus you get the softer interface foam on top, so it can accommodate the minute contours of the user. Okay, so but there's more. So this seat has 4 aft adjustment. Okay, so front and rear. So I can adjust the position of the seat plus or minus an inch from its standard sitting or middle setting. Okay, the key to that is if you are sitting with your trunk in a more stable position, okay, your pelvis, your ITs are going to slide forward. Okay, and when it slides forward, if you don't have proper adjustment of the chair and of the seat, you're going to run the risk of your ITs pressing up against the front of the aperture. So with RAS, okay, we can loosen the screws with a full screwdriver, and I can slide the seat up to 2 inches forward to fine-tune the position of the aperture for the client. Okay, so what's important there, okay, is that the back angle adjustment that we have, so we can set the back at 90 or 97 degrees now, and the seat adjustment, and of course tension adjustable upholstery, which is standard multi-strap. So if you have a typical client that has to sit with a trunk in a more stable position with their pelvis posteriorly rotated, okay, they're going to slide forward. Okay, so with the seat adjustment, I can then move the seat forward, so we have better centering of the IT into in the middle of the aperture. Okay, so we're going to start our pressure mapping. We got some time here, so we're going to get Chris to come out. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so share screen. so I'm going to pressure. Okay. So we were using a body track pressure map system. Room here. So we want to have the camera set up. So I'm hoping everybody can see both the body position as well as the pressure mapping. Okay, and you can enlarge one over the other with zoom. If you grab the partition between your two screens, you can make one bigger than the other. Okay, so we're going to get Chris to sit in here. Okay, so I got the seat all the way back. Just start. Okay. So this is Chris Palmer, marketing coordinator. We got Winnie Loud behind the scenes. So you can see the pressure mapping here. Let's make sure there's no, yeah. Okay, make sure there's no wrinkles in here. Okay. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, so all pretty good. I'm gonna put it in this place so you can kind of see as well. So now when I tilt Chris rearward, okay, the pressure dissipates. Okay, you can see there's more blue and it's slightly darker. Okay, but because the seat is contoured, we have very good pressure mapping right now. So the highest is 96, 97, so way below the 200 millimeters of mercury that people always try to avoid. Okay, so I'm going to have Chris slide his butt forward to put his trunk in a more stable position. Okay, so you can see that. If I do, you want to lower, Chris? That's okay. Yeah. Is that better? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that the aperture at the front of the aperture is displaying higher pressure now, and that's because he moved his butt forward, as you would have to if you were a quad and you needed to put your trunk in a more stable position. Okay, so now I'm just going to have instead of me pushing the seat forward and having Chris, I'm just going to have Chris to just lift himself up. Okay, I'm going to slide the seat forward so I don't have to reposition him after. Okay, so now, Chris, if you put yourself back down where you were, okay, you can see that he's got pretty good pressure. So the pressure is not as focused at the front as it was. And that's the importance of fore-aft adjustment. Again, so that you do a better job of centering the aperture around the user's ITs. Okay, so now I'm going to change seats. I'm going to put on a viscofoam interface seat. Okay. Take that seat off. Again, our seat design, our seat bracket design allows you to securely lock a seat in place, but this is how easy it is to change, either for seat evaluation or if you are just trying to find the right seat for your client. Okay. When you adjust your brackets, make sure you push the rear seat support brackets towards the rear seat support tube so it doesn't allow the seat to flip up and over. Okay, so I'm going to put this pressure mat back in. Okay. Winnie, what's your time like?
Sorry?
What's your time? Chris?
Mine is
Chris?
10:40.
10:40. Okay, so we got some good time. Is there somebody who needs to be admitted?
Yes.
So make sure you don't crease in the pressure mat. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we got lots of blue. Chris is still sitting up. Are you sitting upright or are you sitting up? That's right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but the mats needs to come forward. It looks like he's got a lot of weight on the front. It is not adjusted properly, okay? Okay, so he's got lots of blue which is nice, which is good. He's got a little bit of leg support from under the legs, but his pelvis is slightly forward and near the front of the aperture, so I'm going to still adjust the seat forward by 2 inches. Okay, so back down. Okay, so right away we get better pressure mapping here. But here's the other important thing about foot adjustment. So I'm going to raise this up. Okay, so when the foot support is too high, there's a gap here as a result. Okay, you can see that the front edge of the seat is not supporting Chris's leg. And when you do that, you're also allowing his body weight to focus around the aperture, which is here. Okay, so his left side I raised the foot support, but the right side I didn't. Okay, I'm going to lower it on this side even. Okay, see, you can see that there's better leg support in there, the front now, because I lowered it by 3/4 of an inch, right? And just to show you the difference visually, okay, right side is up, left leg is down, and you can see the pressure mapping supporting that. So it's important to have adjustable foot supports as well as arm supports, because if you take your arms and put your arms in your own lap, okay, yeah, so there's a little bit more weight because the arms have some mass to it. So if they're not being supported properly by the arm supports, then all that extra weight from your arms goes through your body, through your seat, and increases the pressure around the aperture. Okay, so you put your arms back up again. Okay, slightly better. Okay. Of course, if you got bigger guns, you'd have greater effect. I'm just kidding, Chris. Okay, so I'm going to adjust this down just to show you the importance of adjustment. Okay, so now that you can see that there's more pressure readings near the front of the seat. So when you distribute the user's weight as over the seat as much as possible, you reduce the pressure, because pressure equals force over area. So unless you can reduce the client weight, if you increase the area that's supporting that weight, i.e. seating surfaces, then you will be able to reduce the pressure. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I think I showed you earlier of tilting, but I think you see more significance when you tilt. Okay, the visco foam interface seat. Sorry, my sensor is kicking in and out pressure mapping. Okay, but it's back in now. So visco foam interface seats are softer. They accommodate contours and they redistribute pressure a little bit better than our molded seats, as good as they are. The BFI seats are still a little bit better. They're also more forgiving. So if the aperture is not necessarily in the perfectly right place, it'll be more forgiving than a molded seat. Okay. So again, while I got Chris here, I'm going to show you how easy it is to tilt him. Okay, from the outside of the chair. So I'm using my left hand. Okay, and I'm able to tilt him for that. Okay. That's it about, so one more about digital stim. Okay, so Chris, jump out for a second. So we're going to do side axis seat. No, that won't fit because it's up near the back. Okay, so this is a side axis seat. Okay, I'll show you the importance of it or the benefit of it. Here, Chris, I can demonstrate this. Thanks. Okay, so side axis seat. So with rehab seating positioning, as we know, it's an art. There's no science, or there's no formula that says this works. Okay, so I have a side axis seat here. Position more directly in front of the camera. Okay, side axis seat here, and the pressure is a little bit higher because I'm missing this area of the seat here. Okay, because I'm missing part of the seat, there's less foam, less seat to support my body weight. So as a result, I get kind of green in front and below, in front and behind the side axis. Okay, but this is where it's important. So I'm gonna over the way. Okay, so I'm gonna get both lateral arms out of the way, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so this is a right axis opening. So if I was doing my own digital stim, okay, try to get more centered. Digital stim, I have to reach down, in, and then back up. Okay, in order to make contact. Okay, so again, look at my body positioning. Even though I can hook my arm, okay, I'm at risk of falling out and over the chair. But also look at the higher pressure that's I'm exerting on my left, under my left greater trochanter. Okay, now with a right side axis seat here, instead of reaching down, in, and back up around the seat, I am just reaching above my own body. Okay, so I'll push a mark here that you can see. Okay, so look how more upright my body is compared to having to lean over to do it this way. Okay, so safer, more efficient, better body positioning, and of course a digital stim. It's not a 30-second thing. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. So that's a long time for somebody to be sitting leaned over and exerting greater pressure. Okay, so again, leaning over to do a digital stim versus reaching around my own body, okay, and doing the stim this way. So again, you're going to find the most optimal overall solution for your clients. But with RAS, because we're so configurable, we offer 17 different standard seat widths, okay, standard seat configurations for a standard width. You have a lot of choices to pick and choose what works for your client. And MMS Medical, they have just about everything in their inventory, and if they don't have it, they'll get it for you. As a result, they're able to supply what you need. So, but we also do a lot of custom. And we always say, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to push your manufacturers, your distributors, to get what you want for your client, okay? So we do custom all the time. We cut and weld frames, make them bigger, longer. We do one-piece calf panels. We do, name it, we've done just about everything. So again, challenge home and MMS Medical. If there's something your client needs that is not available off the shelf, please let us know. We'd be happy to look at making that for you. Okay. So how's our time? 10 minutes. Okay, we got 10 minutes. So it went over pretty much everything. So it's questions and answer time. So everybody, you can put their mics back on. And was there any chats entered, Chris? Okay. So we're ready to take some questions if anybody has them. What other things should I have covered?
If they need some more about the products themselves on the website, there's resources on that.
Okay, yes. We have evaluation website, so I'm going to take the pressure map off. I'll stop sharing my screen. Okay. Sorry, we're going to go.
I was going to say you go right to the website and share your screen.
Yeah, okay. Share screen. Share. So we have a number of resources available. So one of the things we have is an evaluation and justification form. This is needed, especially in the U.S., where everything has to be justified. But one of the things that this does is it breaks down feature by feature, and it talks about the clinical benefits that each feature can provide for your client. And even if you don't need to do as much medical justification, by looking at some of the features and looking at some of the benefits, it may trigger you to think, hey, I can use this feature to achieve the goals I have for this client. So it can just, suggest some ideas as well as help you justify what you need. So there's also photo galleries here. We talked about custom. So this is all the custom things that we've done. We've recently done a traction chair. Let's see if I click on the whole picture. Yeah. Again, we were asked by sick kids here to develop a traction chair for their clients. And of course, for new injuries, you want to have reduce the pressure on their spine, give it time to heal. And by using traction here with a set of weights on this thing, we can accommodate what they need and get them the rehab that they need. We also have, for example, a super low tilt, okay, with self-propel. We can do, again, it's allows a person to be a little bit more independent. Okay, so let me find something else. Head support. Okay, we did a head support with laterals. Somebody like a CP kid that's always trying to get underneath and behind their headrest. By adding these lateral wings to this head support, we're able to make sure that child's head's in a proper, and safe positioning. Okay, so there are 3 questions here. Okay. Yeah, we got a couple of chats saying thanks for the presentation. Excellent pressure mapping, very helpful. Okay. Any other things?
Just like the optional accessories brochures are basically the order forms in picture format with alternates.
Yeah. Okay. So we got products, galleries, order forms, resources. Okay, this is where, yeah, family brochure. Okay, with again, talks about the iPass. It talks about some of the options that we have, and then we have an accessory brochure that helps you explain the options to your clients. Okay, different seats, etc. So one thing I didn't mention is our wizard. Okay, so can you close the panel because I can't see? Okay, so this is a wizard. So it's a urine deflector, and what's key about it is it has these wings. So these wings help keep it in place. So turn sideways here. Keep it in place so that I can have it at the very front, okay, because my legs are over top of those wings, or I can bring it really close to my body, okay, and again, it doesn't fall through because of the wings. This, by the way, can also be used with standard toilet seats. So if you have a family who's trying to toilet train their toddler, this might be a good option for them to use as well. Okay. Great. I think I'm done for the presentation. I don't know if there's any more questions or chats. Okay. So, Paul, I think I'm done.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Nelson. Thanks for that. That was really good because I know I sat in on it before, and seeing the pressure mapping and all that was really interesting because it's not something you think about when you're been out doing commode and shower chair assessments. But just, I suppose, from my point of view, I've been working with Raz for 7 years now, and I've seen them grow from strength to strength here in Ireland. And I think everybody can see why, like the design and the accessories and everything available is second to none. Every time I use a Raz chair, it just works for me, for my clients. We have quick delivery. We're obviously, the reps are available all over the country to do assessments. We have all those chairs. We keep the majority of things in stock. And as Nelson said, if we don't have certain items, we can get them in pretty quick. So yeah, I suppose a product that works for the client, doesn't break down, and quick delivery is kind of the dream combination for a rep and an OT. So yeah, that's why Raz is one of my favorite products, and it's why it's going from strength to strength here in Ireland, and it's one of the most popular shower commode chairs in the country. So well done to Nelson and all you guys, and thanks for today. And that was a really good presentation, and thanks for all the organization you put into it.
Okay, there's one chat question, and that is, do we have a softer tension adjustable back upholstery? So a couple of things. One is our back, unlike our competitors, are multiple strap. Okay, so by multiple strap, if you have a client that has kyphosis, for example, you can do localized positioning. So I can loosen the straps where the apexes of that kyphosis. But you can also loosen it to get better trunk support. Also, you know, if you want to increase the back height, for example, on this chair here, by undoing the straps, I could move the back upholstery up so that there's 2 straps above the rigidizing tube. Okay, which case then we've increased the back height by 2.5 inches, so that's about 6 centimeters. Okay. But to answer the question, this is our vinyl tension adjustable upholstery. But what we do and can do is make a neoprene sleeve that slips over the front of it, okay, and drapes behind it as well. So by having a neoprene on both sides of the back upholstery, one, the softer in the front interacts with the client, so it provides a softer surface. And then because the neoprene also slides in behind the back upholstery and in front of the buckles, it helps prevent the client from feeling the buckles. So it provides a softer positioning, but you still have the ability to adjust tension adjustable upholstery. And of course, it slips over it. There's a Velcro at the very bottom that stays in place, but it's easy to remove for washing, okay, without use of tools. So that is it's a custom now because we do get the occasional request for it, but it's something to keep in mind. And again, like most of our options there, we start out as being custom, and when we see more and more requests for it, then we just make it a standard feature, put it on our order form, and then, you know, MMS Medical, for example, we just keep it in stock. Okay, so this is certainly available for you. So again, thank you for the question, and it's questions like this that makes Raz a better company, because if you see a need for your client, chances are there's other therapists, other clinicians out there that have a similar need, but just didn't ask the question. So thank you for asking that question, and again, keep us challenged to develop better and more things to help you look after your clients. Okay. Okay, is there any other questions? We're good? Okay. Is there one more there?
Just saying thanks.
Oh, just saying thanks. Okay. Thank you. And we'll see you on at ESS, European Seating Symposium 2024. So please come by our booth. We have new exciting products coming. We have a raised toilet seat frame that provides seating and positioning over a regular toilet, which also can be converted into a tub, a bath bench. There will be a transfer surface that can attach to our raised toilet frame. So because it has adjustable leg support, so we can have them outward for greater stability, and inboard to accommodate the contouring of a bathtub. This will certainly be shown at ESS in 2024. We also have a tough slide system coming in Q1 of 2024, and that allows you to transfer from a mobile shower commode chair directly over a base that sits in the bathtub, so that your clients can shower over a bathtub. Okay, so that's going to be coming soon, and we have a power thinking. We have a rise coming, so it's a power elevating shower commode chair. It raises up to 42-inch seat to floor height. It lowers to 22. 21? 20. Thank you.
20 to 42.
20 to 42. And it also has 30 degrees of power tilt. Again, this is more for institution at this point. It's very popular in Scandinavian countries because by elevating your client, the caregiver doesn't have to stoop down, potentially hurt the back while they're tending to their client. So raising the client up means they can do everything at at the arm level or eye level, so it's safer for both. So that's coming probably Q3 of 2024. So again, we got a lot of new stuff coming. So hope to see you all at ESS.
Perfect. Thanks, Nelson. Thanks again. Yeah, it's great innovation. Again, I see you're always come up with new things, and even the likes of that backrest, I didn't know that was available. So I'm always learning as well. But you seem to have an accessory for everything.
Okay, that's great.
So far, but thanks again for your time, guys. We'll get the emails out tomorrow with the link to the recording of today's session, and we'll get the CPD certs emailed out. And thanks to everybody for attending, for your time. Thanks to Chris and Winnie, and of course Nelson as well today for your time, and for Trish for organising for us as well. So so look to all the attendees. If you've any further questions, you can get on to your local rep in your area, and we'll be happy to help.